Good evening, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat mga kababayan. Ito po ay si Edward Logan. I am really excited po na mai-share po namin ang mga knowledge at expertise ng mga kaibigan ko po na mahilig sila tumulong sa kanilang mga kapwa-tao po. So, first and foremost po, I would like to personally thank my good friend, Jelix Mercader, one of the founders of the Bounce Back, along with the two other key leaders of this very important movement, Jason De La Rosa and RJ Ledesma, as well as the Practical Learning Company for giving us the opportunity to share our knowledge and expertise in the area of blockchain technology. And of course, to all the viewers and the participants of this webinar, thank you for lending your precious time to us. We hope that by the end of this webinar, you will learn three things, three basic things po. Una is the high-level overview, a good understanding, and the unique characteristic of the blockchain technology po. Second, you can identify the benefits of the adoption of the blockchain technology. And third, learn some of the successful use cases that my friends executed in their field. And again, my name po is Edward Logan. I will be your moderator today. And again, it is my honor to introduce our three panels of international experts. First, I would like to introduce and start with my good friend, Dr. Maria Papadaki. She has over 10 years of experience in risk management from both academe in the British University of Dubai and University of Manchester, and of course in the private sector in Rolls-Royce, and then with numerous years in implementation, development, and management of risk framework, tools, and techniques. Her portfolio of accomplishments is really amazing. First, of course, she led the successful implementation of smart certificates using blockchain technology in Dubai, which became the third in the world and first in the Middle East for using the blockchain in education. She has designed hundreds of risk executive curriculum or courses and then trained more than 300 plus people for supply chain risk and PMOs. PMO stands for Project Management Office, or they call it Program Management Office organization. She obtained her first degree in business economics from Salford University. And then he furthered her studies, completing her master's in the management of projects at the University of Manchester, and then completed her PhD in philosophy. And really a well-accomplished lady. And she actually, in 2014, she started and initiated the idea and the development of the first innovation hub in Crete, Greece. And it was with the collaboration and partnership with the Greece Chamber of Commerce. In 2018, she's also appointed as one of the board of directors for the Institute of Risk Management in London. So under her profile, she is leading in education, training standard strategy, and she's now currently working as the managing director and an assistant professor at the British University in Dubai. Her focus is in innovation, blockchain, artificial intelligence, enterprise risk management, and cybersecurity. Of course, the second panel is Professor Marinos Themistocleous. He is a well-respected professor and associate dean of School of Business at the University of Nicosia in Cyprus. He is current director of the Institute for the Future, the world leading organization in blockchain in education and research. He holds a PhD in information system integration and a postgraduate degree in teaching and learning in higher education, both from Burnell University in London, UK. And prior to that, he received a master's in information in system management and bachelor's degree in computer science, both from Athens University of Economics and Business in Athens, Greece. Professor Marinos holds a lot of certification, including blockchain, fintech, and future commerce from MIT here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, here in the United States. And of course, he has developed a lot of blockchain application in the areas of energy, healthcare, and services as a blockchain advisor. And of course, the last but not the least, our third speaker or a panel here, his name is Alexis Nicola. He's the CEO of the Blacko. He has over 25 years of experience as a C executive, and as high up there in different capacities in terms of accountancy, finance, banking, and he currently serves as the one of the board of directors for Grant Thornton in Cyprus, and he's a fellow of the and he received his BA with honors actually in University of Nottingham in UK, and he's also a member of the University of Nicosia program, completing for the Master of Science in Digital Currency program. As you guys know, these three powerhouse speakers and experts will discuss the enormous potential of blockchain technology, particularly in the education sector. Everybody knows that COVID-19 pandemic has shattered schools around the world over the social distancing becomes the new norm, putting significant physical barriers between students and their teachers. As a result, more schools than ever have adopted online training, learning, connecting teachers and students through different platforms, whether it's a video, online chat, different interactive application. It has required many teachers and students to adapt to unfamiliar territory of technology. And while it has also forced institution and school administration to address many issues, including the unequal hardware and internet access, which is not only common in the Philippines as a challenge, but also other parts of the world. It also ultimately shown that education can continue outside the traditional classroom setting for different sizes of students, whether it's like 20 students, 30 students, 40 students, right? So it also helped shine a light on other potential disruptive ideas in the space of educational sector. And in addition, it also poised for a widespread take-up in the wake of lockdown is the blockchain certificates for qualification, training, and other professional credentialing, especially for teachers. At I'll speak in Tagalog. Marami pong salamat sa mga guro na kayo po ay isa talagang dakila. Your guys are heroes who really raise the next generation of citizen who really give back to to the community, to their country. So we just wanna express our appreciation sa inyong pag-hard work po. So we'll start, Alexis, if you don't mind. Let's start the conversation on this particular topic.
Can you see my screen? Just sharing my screen for Marinos to start. Is it visible?
Yes, it is. Okay. Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for the invitation to this interesting and exciting event. As Edward said, my name is Marinos Themistokleous, and I will go through the first part of this presentation. Um, Moving to the next slide, and as Edward said, today we live in a situation where the coronavirus has a dramatic impact basically on our life and business. But on the other hand, this presents an opportunity, let's say, to speed up our digital transformation. We can see that today there is a need to do things in a different way. There is a need to go digital, to work remotely. And to achieve this, we need to learn and trust the technology. We need to improve and increase the digital security in this environment, become more efficient when doing business using electronic means. And of course, this also reduces the need for physical evidencing. During the last years, the last 12 years, let's say, since 2008, there is a new technology around, which is called blockchain technology. And this technology can help us to overcome or to address many of the existing problems and to achieve the goals such as just mentioned. In simple words, blockchain technology is a transparent technology, which means that everybody can have a look to the transaction, so everything is clear and is visible through the internet. It's immutable. We can write only data. We cannot change data. We cannot manipulate. We cannot edit them. Only append data on the chain. It is an open environment and very secure. So blockchain will significantly transform, let's say, the way that organizations manage and use their digital records because of the characteristics I just mentioned. We can see here that the blockchain technology does not only brings disruption in the digital certificates area, but also in many other areas of the business and the everyday activity. Many people say that blockchain is the new internet. It's an internet that is not like the internet of information that we use every day, but it's the new internet, the internet of value, the internet of trust. So the keywords here is trust and value. We can do transactions that add value, and these are done in a trusted way. With blockchain, of course, we had the evolution of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and many others. And these are new forms of money that are not issued by a central bank or a central agency. And this money is available through the internet. This money has also different characteristics. It's programmable, all right? So the production of the currency, of the digital currency, is done online. It's appropriate for machines, and we're moving into an era, let's say, where we can have machine-to-machine commerce and transaction, because these cryptocurrencies have nano quantities, and it's difficult to do transactions or to calculate, let's say, the amounts that we have to pay with our head. So we are moving into an era where we're going to have machine-to-machine commerce. Another interesting characteristic of the blockchain technology is the use of the smart contracts. We're referring to smart contracts in similar way with the traditional one. So just keep it. We do the business using contracts that are not hard copies like the traditional one we have, but we're using digital copies of a contract. This is a contract that is programmable, is machine readable, is executed by a computer, and the different articles of this contract are activated or triggered based on the accomplishment of a specific condition. So this leads to less disputes in the area because everything is controlled by a logic within these contracts, and the execution is done by the computer, as I said, upon the accomplishment of specific conditions. So also this technology is disruptive in nature and will affect many different sectors of the economy. And we can see this with the solution of the block.co. We uh, developed this technology a few years ago at the university just to issue certificates online using the blockchain technology. But today we can see that these certificates can be applicable to many different sectors, and Alexis will mention more about the application of this technology in a few minutes. In general, the blockchain technology, we can say that it will have a great impact on many different aspects, as mentioned before, like the technological, the business, the financial, the social, or the political, at the political level. And we will see that the market will be expanded in the next year, ranging from, I think it's 7.7 billion around in 2020. And this amount will be, this market will be increased to 60.7 billion dollars in 2024. Now, what is a blockchain? I'm sure you know what a ledger is. Ledgers are traditional books that we have to record transactions like the bank transactions we have or the bookings in hotels and so on. In parallel with this, we can see that a blockchain is a kind of ledger, but instead of being centralized like the other I just mentioned, it's a decentralized ledger. Why we're doing this? Because basically the centralized ledgers have many limitations, and basically due to their nature, and these limitations deal with security issues. For instance, what's going to happen in case the building is burned and the ledger is burned, all right? So, or there's an earthquake or other disaster. We have other problems dealing with related to the inefficiency, the high cost, because we have many entities that are involved, transactions take longer, etc. There's a lack of transparency since limited number of people are controlling the information that is written down into these ledgers, and often this leads to fraud or errors. So in overcoming all these problems, the blockchain technology says something simple. I'm going to develop a new ledger, a ledger that will have many characteristics, like what we said before. It's going to be a book where we write down transactions, etc. But instead of having this book in a central place, we will keep multiple copies of the same book, of the same ledgers around the globe, and these copies will be saved on multiple nodes around the globe. The ledgers, the distributed ledgers, are synchronized. They're more secure because we're not allowed to change the contents. And in case there is a change in the contents of one of these copies, this to be validated by the rest of the participants, which is impossible. All right. For that reason, it's considered as much more secure compared to the rest. Now, what is a database? What is a blockchain? How it works? Basically, a blockchain is a chain of blocks. And what's a block? A block contains transactions or records. For instance, we have multiple computers around the globe that participate in these blockchain networks. Each of these computers issue transactions. For instance, Alexis will issue a certificate for a diploma at the University at the British University of Dubai, and so on. So all these transactions are collected together. They're put together in a block, and upon the validation of the approval of the participants, and the decision here is made based on the 50% plus one votes of the participants. So once we have the approval by the majority of the participants, we append the new block to the blockchain. So this is how it works. Now, a few things about our story. The University of Nicosia is the largest university in Cyprus with more than 12,000 students. And it was the first university in the world to recognize the importance of blockchain education. For that reason, we did two things back in 2013. First of all, we accepted payments in terms of bitcoins and cryptocurrencies. So we allowed students to pay their fees using bitcoins back in 2013. And a year later on, we launched the first MSc in blockchain and digital currency. And a year later, we said, why not now creating a technology to issue the certificates of our students using a technology that we teach them. Therefore, we built in-house a solution for the issuance of the diplomas of our students. And slowly, we expand this activity not only to include to issue the certificates of the students of the digital currency and blockchain MSc, but also to all the degrees of the University of Nicosia are now published using this solution. A few years later on, we decided that this is a great idea and it's time to create a company for this. Therefore, we spin out this concept and we created the blog.co company, in which Alexis is the CEO. Okay, so these are some main facts about the university. Few things more about the Institute of the Future. The Institute of the Future is one of the institutes of the University of Nicosia. Our team has a lot of expertise in the area of blockchain, but it's not limited only on blockchain. We're doing other things like AI, like forecasting, IoT, etc. So we have 40 faculty staff members that are concentrated on these technologies, the fourth industrial revolution technologies like blockchain. And we participate and do research with multiple organizations around Europe, but also we work with the ecosystem. We work with blockchain providers like Ripple, where we have a contract in collaboration with other universities ranging from MIT and other universities around the globe. We do research for Ripple. In addition to this, we're building a community which is organized in chapters. We have many chapters around the globe, from Latin America to Asia, Australia, and so on, to Europe, where people who would like to join us, they set up a chapter. The chapters collaborate, without our without us having a centralized role in this. So we just give some principles based on which they can collaborate. They do their own activities, okay, and then they have these meetings where they call their members to come for a presentation, all right, and they can exchange their ideas and discuss interesting topics about the blockchain technology. Okay, and in terms of teaching, as I said, we have the first MSc on blockchain technology and digital currency. The first course of this MSc is free of charge and is led by pioneers in our ecosystem, like Andreas Antonopoulos, a well-known worldwide author, let's say, on blockchain technology. He's the author of Mastering Bitcoin, Mastering Ethereum, and so on. Also, our CEO, Antonis Polemidis, is teaching on this first course. And as I said, this is a free of charge. Everybody can attend the course. And then, if you like, you can proceed with the MSc program. The first course I mentioned before, the MOOC, has more than 40,000 participants so far from around 100 different countries around the globe. One of our collaborators all these years, an important partner, was the British University in Dubai, where was the first one who decided to adopt our technology to issue the certificates. And to this point, I would like to ask Maria to continue with this presentation and talk us about their activities.
Yes, happy to join you as well, and really excited. And thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you for the warm welcome, Edward. So I am a part of the British University in Dubai. So who is the British University in Dubai? We are located in Dubai, of course. We're an accredited university in the UAE. We are one of the first research-led universities in the regions. We have the most PhD candidates in the region as well. And I will explain you the setup of the British University in Dubai. It's collaborated with the best research institutes in UK, which is Manchester, Glasgow, and Edinburgh. And also, the founder comes from Rolls-Royce, British Business Group, the Al Maktoum Foundation, the Dubai Development and Investment Authority, the Emirates NBD National Bank, and the aspiration and it's this unique setup is bringing quite good the triple helix approach by having the sector, private sector, also with the high-led universities as well. So as Edward said, I did work for Manchester University and I did work for Rolls-Royce PLC. So I landed in the University in Dubai, really proud of being in this institution, really, and bringing all my expertise back from the industry and UK to work here in Dubai. So this university is highly focuses on following the UAE strategy and the Dubai strategy, a blockchain strategy, and innovation strategy. So I'm leading the research center, which is called the Dubai Center, the British University Dubai Center for Risk and Innovation, which is under the umbrella. It's one of the three research centers of the British University in Dubai. The focus of the center is to evolve in the areas of artificial intelligence, blockchain, and risk management. So this is the three areas. So under this, So if you see here, obviously there's a lot of disruptive technologies around in the world. However, this center is formed to just bring the word to translate the academia language to the industry language and vice versa, because you will find you as an educators a lot of times those two languages have a big gap. So actually, because the university is set up as well, this center is also there to bring these two together. So the first and the most innovative projects that we worked in collaboration with the University of Nicosia, it was back in 2017. We did the blockchain solution to our certificates. So we became the third in the world on implementing a blockchain technology for issuing our degrees. We're now in the process of completing all our graduate blockchain degrees and back work the lot until the next couple of months. So we are proud of it and how this project came up. It came up from the first steps of University of Nicosia working with a solution. So we were, as Marino said, we were the first to go, and when we see innovation, we just jump on it and we just work on it. So we took the approach of a research, but also implemented it as well. And for many reasons. I believe that all of us, what we suffer is about degrees to be fake, lost, the cost, the administration cost in the universities and in schools is very high to issue a degree. And then also I will add here the attestation process. I will ask also the freedom of movement. It's another factor as well. And also for the universities as well. But, imagine if you jump from one class to another, from one school to another, it is easier to verify your details by just logging your details in a how you call it, in a ledger, rather than calling, asking, and everything. So I think blockchain gave us the opportunity to work to automate our system. The next slide, if you move to the next slide. Yes, so we got global recognition. So, and we're very happy about that. I already talked to you about the center and what we do. And I think this picture, I like it because it's represents a lot of people sitting together to make one decision. So I think blockchain is easy. It makes to us to make easier the process to be easier as well. So the British University in Dubai was quite innovative in implementing the strategy, and quite very fortunate to come close with University of Nicosia and now Bloco as well to work on this initiative, and at the same time work on the initiative of the strategy of the UAE, the blockchain strategy, and also the Dubai strategy as well, which has as a primary initiative to turn all the transactions, to turn most of the transactions in blockchain. So, yes. So if you go to the next slide, you will see and understand what I was. Okay. Yes, I'm fine with that. Yes. So this is what we did as a British University in Dubai, and I think I will give that now to Alexis.
When the University of Nicosia identified a need for secure and self-verifiable credentials, a growing market in forged credentials and the vulnerability of certification documents in the face of man-made and natural disasters meant a solution was increasingly necessary. Now, the university's institutional requirements drove the protocol approach, with the three most important elements of that protocol being resiliency, open access, and ease of use. The solution had to be vendor independent, thus the use of the Bitcoin blockchain, the use of PDF files, a format that is common to everyone, and a straightforward issuing and validation process. Bloco's mission is to radically transform the way institutions manage digital records by leveraging blockchain technology as a service. At Block.co, we offer a solution to the problem of fake documentation of any type. Our solution has certain features that actually make it the most attractive proposition. Validation is done independently of the issuer. It is a solution with no vendor dependence that would outlive even the issuer itself. It is the simplest to use because, let's face it, people out there are not really ready for smart contracts for private and public key tokens, converted tokens, etc. It is built on the most secure of blockchains, the only one not to have been hacked to date, the Bitcoin blockchain, and it adds to the efficiency of operations of any document issuing department. How we can help our clients? We help them with the issuance of their electronic documents, the validation of authenticity of those documents, and the revocation of those documents should the need arise. All of this is done with a very simple process of drag and dropping of those certificates to an online validator to check their validity. What our protocol does is issue verified PDFs, human readable and straightforward to explain, enabling the owner of this document to share with anyone they wish and enabling that person to independently validate its authenticity. Moving swiftly, some of the industries we serve in the private sector and some of the industries we serve in the public sector. Now, when it comes to the education sector, which is of relevance to today's webinar, you can see that some of the examples where our solution could add value: matriculation certificates, professional training, CPD courses, university degrees, of course, which was the first use case. And when it comes to teachers like yourselves, any training certificates, and an issue that we had great response to here in Cyprus was teacher evaluation reports. I will put a stop there, Edward. Over to you. I think there's some time for questions from you and also the audience.
Yes, but I would like to acknowledge some of the viewers and the participants were location wise. Okay, I want to thank a particular one from Batangas, from Lipa City, and then there's one from really, it's like near Malaysia. The location is really close, really in the southern part of the Philippines. Okay, so I think it's Lanao. So thank you for your time for watching this webinar, and for all other teachers there from other cities in the Philippines. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat at maraming salamat sa inyong time. Alexis, I think you and Maria and Marina, thank you so much for the background introduction of how the blockchain evolved and how you guys successfully implemented it in Dubai. In particular, you mentioned a while ago, Alexis, in terms of the teacher's certification. I know in the Philippines, not just the COVID-19, because Filipino people are very resilient, but at the same time, teachers, experience a lot of, like, for example, the weather. There's like typhoon, so they're like trying to like figure out where they can save their photographs, especially now for their credentials, diploma. So really, the blockchain certificates for their training when they invested for themselves, right, to be a better teacher, a better students as well, because sometimes students can use the blockchain to get their training, right, when the teacher develop new curriculum or even the transcript, right? So my question to you guys, that I want to lead the discussion, and then we'll open the floor to the audience. In terms of the remote learning, it's something that has been effectively forced upon because of this COVID-19. Do you feel that this is gonna stay here? Anyone can respond to that particular question.
Marinos and Maria, you're experiencing it with your own universities. Perhaps you would like to comment on this.
I can tell you our experience from here in Dubai, and then I think Prof. Marinos can tell you the experience in Europe as well. So we in the British University in Dubai, thankfully, we had a pandemic plan in place. So really, we really knew what to do in case of a pandemic hit us. So we had all the online platforms there. So actually, we had a task force that just before they closed down, they went through the whole activities and everything. We got trained as an academics, and we sent home. We were really lucky on the fact that the ministry as well of education in the UAE put the help of the students and academics and the administration staff as a priority. So we were having clear guidance from the ministry on how we can deal with the pandemic. We stayed at home. So safety, it was one of the priorities in the UAE, and we were really happy to be under this kind of leadership as universities. And they didn't stop there. After that, they changed the whole accreditation system of the universities, and they accommodated online learning in the accreditation system, and they revised everything according to the COVID, and they made mandatory online training.
Okay.
Basically, they acted very fast. They gave us support, technical support to all the universities. So really, we were really happy, and we're still working from home, and everything is done by the safety of us. So if you're asking me if it's here to stay, yes, it's here to stay, but it is more a philosophical question to me, coming from Greece. Okay, so it's more a philosophical question on how you need online, how much online training you need, and how much face-to-face. I'm not an advocate of a full online training.
Okay.
An advocate of because I work. My background is about innovation ideas. Uh, Ideas come from an individual, but it needs to be discussed. And now there is another philosophical question. It's like how would we need the emotion, the interaction, and the whole uh, of the people interactions. And I think COVID brought questions about that. Okay, online training, is it about only training, or is it about evolving in humanity, and this needs to have the social interaction? So sharing thoughts, is it the same sharing thoughts on an online tool, and is it the same sharing thoughts in a class between a teacher and the student? So really, it's a more philosophical. If you ask my opinion, yes, it's here to stay, but how much? And we need a balanced approach as humans. Let's
Balance. The key word there, balance. You hit the nail.
because as humans, we cannot stay in the box.
Okay.
We need to live.
Thank you. How about you? You have anything to add, Professor Marino?
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. This new way of doing business is here to stay for long. And we can see this all around the globe. And for sure, the situation will not be the same, in post-COVID situation. We can see from our university, we started our MSc back in 2014, as I mentioned before, but I didn't say that that was delivered in distance learning techniques and practices. So we're familiar with the distance learning education for the last 7 years. We're running this program. Also, our professional training courses, all of them are delivered online. So we can see a practice that hasn't changed basically due to this situation. I'm referring to the delivery of our courses. And we see that many other organizations, due to the situation with the COVID, they were forced, ranging from the primary schools to the universities, to change the delivery mode and go online in order to overcome these social distancing problems we have, and to overcome the problems reduce the risk of affected by COVID.
Yeah.
I expect that after a COVID situation, many of the programs will come back to the normal way of delivery. The vast majority of them will be like this because they need to have approval from other bodies, accreditation, and so on to deliver them in a distance learning mode. But for sure, many new programs will be delivered now based on this mode of delivery, because simply people are more familiar with this. Many of the reservations they had are disappeared because they use it every day. They say, okay, it's good, I can do it, why not? And we can see, we go back to the practices or the trends that we had in the United States of America a year or 2 years ago. We can see that big universities, for instance, they are thinking to move some of their programs online, like MBAs, or some programs that have a lot of professionals who attend the courses and so on. So we will say that the situation will not be the same as before the COVID.
Okay, thank you. Alexis, I know all of you guys touch the technology has been a big part of the evolving of a new way of addressing business processes, right? So what kind of again, you guys mentioned a little bit some of the efficiency, what you can see in terms of other value proposition of implementing step by step the blockchain in the educational sector. Like I mentioned a while ago about the transcript, right? Or any credentialing for teachers, because some teachers will have a different approach of their learning style. So therefore, they will need to use different type of technology as well to address some of the skill sets, the new skill sets that they need to learn. So what are the other examples of efficiencies that the blockchain can address?
Yeah. Whether we like it or not, technology is increasingly gaining a bigger and bigger part of our everyday personal and working lives. Blockchain is a major element of that change that is coming. A recent World Economic Forum survey that I was reading estimates that a significant portion of the world's GDP will eventually be stored on the blockchain. They predict about something about 10% by the year 2027. Now, blockchain will help companies become more efficient in the education sector as well. What the blockchain will do, it will remove the need to trust people and rely more on technology. It will remove the need for the middleman. That's what the blockchain is here to do. Remove the need for the middleman. Remove the need for the university in this case to be consulted in order for the potential employer, let's say, or a government employee checking on some credentials, whether these credentials are actually right or wrong. By securing the trust in information that is one presentable. You can use the blockchain to actually imagine this world. Imagine a world where you will not have any fake documents, not just certificates.
Just to give an example, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Like, for example, some of our participants might wonder, okay, I took this webinar and then I learned about blockchain. So how other third party can validate that the certificate that the Bounce Back Academy going to be issued is really, number one, trustworthy, and the instant validation. So give a little bit the process, how at least they can feel comfortable. Yes, this is the future, and this is how the certificate works.
Absolutely. Following the end of this webinar, whoever has participated and the details will come through from the organizers will be receiving a participation certificate to this webinar. This certificate will look like any other document with the logos of the organizing entity on, the logos of the participating entities. It will be the University of Nicosia, with Bloco, etc. I don't know if you'd like to have a picture of you as well, Edward. We can have that here, but maybe not. The person can easily themselves or any third party they actually forward that document can easily validate the authenticity of that document by, listen to this, not just dropping it on a validator that is installed on the Blockhost website, but on any validator that is installed on any website of any client of Blockhost, whether it's 2 or 3 or 100. Why? Because it is not block.co that is validating the participation of that person in the webinar. It is the Bitcoin blockchain. So by dragging and dropping that certificate into that validator, the transaction that takes place behind the validator is the matching of the metadata that is embedded in that document, in that PDF file. It's a simple PDF file. Matching of that metadata to the metadata that has already been anchored on the blockchain. And if there's a perfect match, then the validator will come out with a result. Yes, this is a valid certificate issued to this and this person, and we'll actually have a picture of that certificate on the screen that the validating party is looking at. You can imagine that there's no room for error, there's no room for manipulation of these documents. Even if a single pixel is altered on that document, then the document will not valid. And we came out with a marketing thing a few months ago where we challenged people to actually try to change a check. We showed a check for, I think it was for 1 million. And we asked people, try and change the details on this check and put your name on it. And if you manage to do that, then we commit to actually paying you the money that is actually written on that check. And of course, we know that it is virtually impossible because as soon as a single pixel is changed on that document, the document will not validate as an authentic document. And that's what we offer. That's the solution, a simple solution. No smart contracts, no wallets, nothing. Just a simple PDF file that is dragged and dropped into Validator.
Cool. So at least it's really good for our audience to understand that, once they receive the certificate, they can start validating it instantaneously. This world of digital world, they want like instant answer right away, right? But this technology can address those particular concern of the viewers who ask questions. So we're going to continue reading some of the questions online. So another question that they raise is, of course, the eradication of fake diplomas or credential. I think really you address the issue of trust, right? And then second, of course, is the transparency of like you giving the power to the educator or the teacher to really have that building of their professional skill set in the new post-COVID world. At the same time, they can continue upgrade their skill set, invest, you know, there's on themselves because they know that being a teacher, especially in the Philippines, they don't pay much, right? So a lot of the teachers in the Philippines, it's really their passion to help students. I'm one of those students who benefited for the sacrifices of the teachers who, regardless of the government administration, they really a resilient group of people who will make it happen. That's why again, marami pong salamat. Thank you so much for all the teachers who are really open mind right now, addressing this challenges in terms of infrastructure. Some of them are like kind of mentioning, how we can address the infrastructure if there's no internet issue. Internet issue is the key, depending on the location, the weather, right? So all of that really, they try to like be creative of learning new skill sets, but at the same time giving this certificate as accomplishment, right? So they're really proud to accomplish those new skill set, and hopefully the blockchain that the Blockco is donating to have this validation will be a pride and joy for them to address the new school year. It's going to be challenging, but it's really a way of living in the future. So there's another question here. Instead, they're kind of curious about the University of Nicosia, Professor Marinos. You mentioned example of the test drive of the curriculum that you mentioned. So I just want to repeat it again. Libre po iyon kung gusto niyo pong makita ang program ng University of Nicosia. So we can Delex, I think what we're going to do is we will send the web link of the University of Nicosia, the free trial of that course. It's going to be a good opportunity for them to try that particular course. And it's a kind of test drive of a Lexus or the new car of the future. So it's really a good way to encourage them. And then another
question. Thank you very much, Edward. This is an excellent idea. The next offering of that course is at the end of September, mid-September. So there is plenty of time from now till September for people to join. It's the procedure is easy to follow. Just go to our website, all right, and then join the course. There are our people that will help you to enroll in the course, and you will get the credentials to participate in the course.
Okay. So Maria, another question that I saw on the viewers they submitted is about the CBA. Stands for cost, benefits, ching money, right? So really some perception or myth, I would say, right, that of course in the beginning there will be a challenge of cost, but they said, how can we provide some of the cost savings? Number one, if you're implementing blockchain in education, what are the cost savings? Because they're gonna question is like, okay, how it's really expensive.
Okay, so David, it's really interesting that UAE strategy gave some numbers, which is they say that they expect 11 billion documents, transaction documents to be saved. Also 398 million of printed documents to be saved.
Wow.
And also 77 million work hours annually. So
Wow.
this is on a country level, but in the university level, let's say, it's really helping you. You know, all these attestation costs that you have. Imagine if you are an educator in the Philippines, you suddenly want to move to US or to Dubai or everything. So all this attestation, if you this document is true or not, it's a very long process, and also it's a long process on bureaucracy. But
Yeah.
also, some people are losing job opportunities because of that.
Yeah.
So you can calculate this, and also if you go into the university now or in the school as well, imagine how many hours the administration team needs to collaborate to work with passing the grades or passing the 4 degrees to maybe to an employee or to from a primary school to a high school and then to a university. And
Yeah.
I'll give you another saving cost right now. It's a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's difficult to attest. It's difficult to give you a degree to hand. So a lot of students are losing the opportunities to go abroad and study. So the opportunities cost of not implementing this technology is very high right now, and the man hours that it's gonna give us that is a lot. The challenge is how governments and I think schools and universities are there to commit and go and work for it and make it mandatory. The good thing is that with let's say with block or with any kind of blockchain, if you follow the regulation of your of the ministry or whatever, you don't change anything. As Alexis already mentioned, is your doing in a PDF format.
Yeah. Okay.
So actually, you're not actually doing something different. You just turn it by yourself digital, your degree by yourself, and then verify it through the school. So the school is the whole validation, let's say. So as soon as the school is okay about that, then there is no an issue about that. Obviously, regulations will come and everything, but you're not there to interfere on any kind of details of the degree. You can do that as well.
Yeah.
So and I think there was a quote from Antonis Polemitis who came earlier this evening, because as many as we go in this kind of work is good for the humanity, because actually what is happening that the people own their data.
Yeah. And again, you touched really some of the key aspect, because a lot of Filipinos, they travel and they work different countries, right? So their educational credential is really one of their investments that they can go to a validation credentialing organization in that particular country and say, hey, I've been trained in this particular skill set, I have this approved instantly, right? So that is really a good business case for Filipinos who are really well traveled and want to go overseas and really shine as well. And then another thing that you mentioned is the cost benefits, the sustainability from environmental concept. I know there's a lot of teachers here. When I was young, I remember they really instill us, how to love, our nature, and really this is really a continued way of like educating the next generation. Yes, there is a solution to contribute for sustainability, environmental process as well. So that's really good that you mentioned that. And last thing I want to make sure, because I know someone kind of asked a question about what is really the role of the government. I know I don't want to talk about too much politics, but the purpose of this is really, how is the government really play a significant role in supporting the innovation hub of blockchain implementation, especially whether it's going to be decentralized, right? because in the Philippines, as you guys probably aware of, we have like different islands, right? At the same time, there is a big Department of Education who try to like develop strategy how to address local schools in terms of implementation. So really, the key overall question is like, what do you see the role of the government in general to ensure that they will have smooth transition in this new economy and the new world post COVID-19?
If I may, obviously for adoption to come at a grand scale, legislation that is governing the technology needs to be
Legislation.
in place. Yeah. And that is where the government comes in. Regulated institutions like, for example, banks or insurance companies, which there is an application there, will not be adopting the technology until such legislation is in fact in place. Here in Cyprus, being part of the European Union, we need, of course, to conform to EU legislation, which currently is not there. Despite that, like Malta, also an EU member state, Cyprus is expected to introduce its own legislation before the end of this year, and some government departments are already running some POCs in which we as Bloco also are involved. One good thing that came out of the recent crisis is that it has accelerated the government's interest in the adoption of the technology, as it has come to realize the efficiencies it would actually bring about to the system. Like, for example, reducing the need for in-person visits to whether it's schools to get your degree, to get your certificate, or government offices for approvals, the need for in-person verifications, the issuance of tamper-proof documentation to citizens, etc., etc. So the government has appreciated the benefits that such a solution can actually bring to the efficiency, to the more efficient operation of the state.
So another thing that I just want to make, since you mentioned about the government, as I asked a question about the role, some actually also want to ask, right? Not just the teacher, because they love their students. So the question that I saw here is, how can be effective the blockchain to the new normal to our students? Because they really care for their students, so that's why the teacher asked that question in particular. So I just want to give that that question to everybody, because they some of the students have different style of learning. Some are visual, some are more. Remember, Maria, you mentioned you prefer the balanced approach, right? So really, that's gonna be one question here with the teacher is really, how can it be effective, the blockchain, in terms of for the students moving forward. So
I think we need to keep out the blockchain part from the teaching and learning procedure, because blockchain is just the the topic that we're discussing. All right. And if we go back and see what are our main activities at the university and the Institute for the Future, we can see that we deal with teaching and research and administration. Now, if we take the teaching, for instance, and go back to our MSc program and the professional training courses we have, all of them are distance learning based. Therefore, there was no change in the way we deliver our courses. We do this for the last 7 years in a consistent way. Our participants and the students are very, very excited with this approach. It's very helpful for them. We can see that 54% of our students change their career going into a blockchain related while they're doing their MSc or immediately after their completion and their graduation. So we can see that there is an upscaling and there is
upscaling.
That's right, upscaling. And we can see that the distance learning approach doesn't have limitations compared to the traditional one. We can see, for instance, some problems in terms of the interaction. So we need to learn how to deal with the distance learning environment to increase interaction. We can use tools. We can use advanced software to have online polls, to have puzzles, questions, and so on. Participants can use the chat functionality of the online tools, and this is something that they cannot do it during the traditional class. For instance, in traditional class, the students are sitting at their desk. They're not allowed to talk. Only they have to raise their hand if they would like to, ask anything to the instructor. But using these online environments, we can see that they can start chatting. The students can exchange their ideas. They can contribute to the discussion, and therefore they can be co-producers, let's say, of this training program or of this training delivery. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. Another important thing that changed a lot compared to what we know is the invigilation of the exams. We learned that the traditional environments have, an invigilation process which is specific, okay, but delivering the courses online doesn't mean that you cannot invigilate your participants, your students online too. So there are tools that help us to overcome all these problems, using advanced techniques. Even in case we assume that we are teaching a technical course that is has to do with programming, and assuming that you run this in a lab, all right?
Okay.
In a lab, you are next to the student. You go and see his screen, or in case he has problem with the code, you just correct him, all right? But here, with this new reality, you can use said before, new tools to have a look to the. You can share the screens. You can have a look to the code at the same way you do it in a physical way, but now using your computer screen. And again, you can provide the same feedback. All right. So if I had to evaluate both approaches, I don't see that many differences in terms of the quality at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Actually, that's one of the question that they submitted again. It says, like, what strategies would you recommend to all teachers in the Philippines to effectively deliver their subject matter in a distant learning approach? And I think you mentioned, like, the collaboration tool where you can, like, use the video online to give feedback. So I guess it's really a new skill set for teachers as well to learn, use those specific I call it shortcut or like some magic to like say, hey, we can like innovatively and creatively still deliver the content to them or the message to the students. Okay, appreciate it, Professor Marinos.
And we can use also many other tools to increase the interaction between the students and the lecturers. We can use, let's say, forum. We can, there are so many tools available for collaboration. You can use Slack and so on. So it's up to the teacher, basically, to the instructor to say, guys, this would be my main tool for communicating and so on.
Okay, thank you. So I guess we are out the 1 hour, but I think I really enjoy reading the comments from the participants and the viewers in the chat room here. So
Edward, just a question. I see a very interesting question from a Nicole Jemayas on the chat.
Sure.
For Maria and Marinos, how long exactly, Nicole says, is the preparation of this blockchain technology? Well, because I've been through the MSc, I can answer that for you. That is not, and I was totally from a non-technical background. Believe me, it's straightforward to understand. It's an easy to understand, appreciate technology. But the latter part is for Maria Marinos. Is it easy to prepare? Is this technology required another set of skills for some educators to implement this kind of technology effectively? So as educators, Maria and Marinos, how difficult was it, especially Maria that came from a different background, how easy was it to implement the teaching of this particular technology?
Okay, so it's two different stuff. Is it about the issuing of the degree, or is it about how to educate in blockchain? About
transfer the knowledge. I think
the knowledge is still, it's something. I think I don't know if Marinos will able to discuss on this, but it's still challenging. The fact that we are in Dubai, in an area that is a lot of blockchain initiatives, like a UAE strategy, a Dubai strategy, the Global Blockchain Council. This made the the audience to be more proactive in listening to things like that. And this comes back to Edward's point, how the government can interfere on boosting this kind of innovation. Because if it's a top-down approach, then people will go and learn about it. While it's the same. So like, well, but now I think it's quite people confuse the blockchain with Bitcoin. I don't want to mention that here, but on the technology. Okay, so on how the technology will improve our lives and the way of interacting right now. So in that sense, I think it's easy to understand. And on the issuing and implementation, it's just a PDF. I think the technology that you brought, Alexis, on bringing just a simple PDF, it's finishing all complications that the admin staff has to face and everything. So if you understand the PDF, you will understand blockchain. It's just a validator, an internet website that you upload your PDF and everything is secure. So this is the two aspects that I can really see as an educator, but also as an explorer, let's say.
Okay. Well, thank you, Maria, for that clarification, and I really appreciate Alexis picking up that particular question from the audience and from the viewers. So appreciate it. So I think that's we're gonna conclude our webinar. Again, marami pong salamat sa inyong time at meron po kayong marireceive na certificate. It has that validation key code po na blockchain embedded. And again, please try yung course na sinabi ni Professor Marinos, libre siya, it's free. I think we flashed the website, but we'll be happy to address any questions that you guys have in the future. Jelix, again, thank you so much for the opportunity. Marami po salamat. Tayo po ay resilient na mga taong Pilipino at move po tayo for this next challenging ng school year po. So thank you po sa mga teacher. Maraming salamat. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, Maria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.